All right. So running your real estate business like a true business. This is actually step number one. And this is part of laying down the foundation. Step one is running your real estate business like a true business. And we constantly talk to realtors and they are too concerned about getting leads, clients. But if you don't have a proper foundation, the moment you get a bunch of clients and leads, you will be all over the place and ultimately lose those high value clients that you want. So keep this in mind. So we're going to dig deeper in this section and talk about building out and laying down a proper foundation. So this is all part of building out your foundation. In this training, you're going to learn how to create a vibrant database. Okay. So you could be successful without a database. You do not have a business. So this is the heart and key of the business. This is what keeps your heart rate going, right? In your body. This is the heart, the database. Then you must schedule and create a daily, monthly, and quarterly schedule. Every business has a schedule, guys. And too many times when people get into business, they realize there's so much great flexibility. But that's also the downfall, is that there is that lack of discipline. And we're going to dive in deep of why. Soon we're going to dive in about why some agents see success and why other agents don't. But you must have a schedule. Every business does. And this is what makes you a true business owner, along with that vibrant database. Prospecting. You are in the lead generation business, guys, because without the leads that turn into clients, okay? You hear that? The leads turn into clients that turn into closed deals, okay? So without the leads that turn into clients, there are no closed deals. So prospecting is also the heart of the game as well. It's the name of the game as well, is what they say. Now, activities, the events and marketing that enhances your prospecting. I call this the stacking system. So again, you must prospect, but you must follow up that prospecting with some activities, such as what we'll be talking about in this training. This makes you become a little bit less salesy, is what we say, is what I say, actually. And then also allows you to build out real relationships with your clients as well. Your CRM is essential. It manages your relationships, all the activities that you must take, and also allows you to scale. When you're looking to get to the next level, that CRM is key. It is the key that holds a lot of these activities, the prospecting in your database together. Another thing is it allows you to leverage. Again, we have but so much memory, right? Natural ability is what I'm talking about here. That's why you have great things like CRM and all the automations that's inside of CRM. So we'll dive deep and talk more about a CRM, the importance and the key things that your CRM should have, and also some great CRMs that are out there. Scripts. Now, this is words that work. Like I said in the last session, words that work is what I call scripts, and words that actually matter. You must have real estate scripts for inbound and outbound leads. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how you can make these scripts less salesy as well. Mindset. You are what you think you are. So if you think that you're not going to succeed in real estate, then guess what? You're absolutely correct. But if you feel like you're going to do an amazing job, you're going to be a top producer, mega agent, or maybe you're currently doing pretty okay, and you're like, man, I really want to get to that next level. I want to become that top producer or that mega agent. But part of probably why you're not succeeding is that mindset. So we're going to dive deep and talk about that more throughout this training, and how you can also alter that mindset to really get you to the next level. Accountability. Now, again, like I said in the last session, we are our most difficult clients. Yes. So it is good that you should consider getting an accountability partner, and also a mentor or coach, or both, or all three. Again, we are our worst client. We are the most difficult person to manage, or the most difficult client to manage is ourselves. That's why it is good to kind of get some outside of accountability, outside of yourself as well. And then path to profits. How much do you want to make? So last but not least, clarity is power. In your head, you may say, hey, I want to make $1 million, $500,000. But then you start to realize that, okay, in order to yield that much money, you need to be selling to this many people a month. And what exactly are those activities that you need to be taking every single day, monthly, and also quarterly? Goes back to that scheduling, guys. all those activities that you need to be doing on the regular in order for you to make that income goal. Okay, so clarity is power. So that's where we had the path to profits as the last session before we wrap up this training. Okay, now this is 20% of your task right here, guys, because remember that Pareto principle. 20% of your task will dictate 80% of your results. I promise you that if you do what we talked about in this training, you kind of focus, especially on those beginning things such as the database, the CRM, the prospecting, some of those beginning tasks and trainings that we have, you will really start to see the results in your business in 90 days or even less, guys. It really depends on how fast that you would like to go. Okay. So again, the Pareto principle, the 80-20 Pareto principle, 80% of your work time should be spent on the phone or in front of people. Stay in this influential zone for the majority of your time. And I promise you, your business will flourish. And again, this training is going to teach you all the different ways that you can do this creatively and also systematically and with the systems and the models that already exist out there for you all. Now, the reason why most agents tend to not succeed, or they see, these are some of the biggest challenges that we've seen throughout just time being in the industry, is that most agents do not have a system for generating leads. This is usually number one. There's no system at all, or they're not even generating leads. They're praying and hoping that somebody picks up the phone and calls them someday. Like they're a silent realtor and they're praying one day someone's just going to call them and do business with them. So that's typically the number one reason why most agents tend to have a challenge in their real estate business. They're also not standing out amongst the competition. There's tons of real estate agents in this industry. So sometimes it can be fairly difficult to stand out amongst the competition. There's tons of peaks and valleys when it comes to income. Again, that roller coaster business because they're not lead generating or they're not properly lead generating. We'll say that. Another major thing is lacking structure and time management. Again, we talked about this, is that there's so much flexibility when you're a business owner. So not just as a real estate agent, in general, when you're a business owner. And that's probably why many people tend to jump into the industry. They're like, oh my goodness, high commissions and lots of flexibility. But that's also most people's downfall because they lack that discipline. And it's probably the reason why you jumped into the industry as well, to be honest. We have to realize that these habits, we have to have specific and certain habits. And remember that sales and marketing is the business, guys. It's the part that makes you a business owner. And this applies to every person that owns a business, not just real estate agents. So customer service is actually a job. Sales and marketing is the business. Customer service is the job. And without the sales and marketing, there is no job. So let's look over here to the right. You'll see this diagram right here, the circle diagram that talks about what agents tend to do with majority of their time. 37% of our time is spent running errands. Typically, most agents are spending 37% of their time running errands, guys. As you can imagine, this is a big no-no. You cannot spend 30% of your time just running random errands. Like you're being busy and you're staying busy, but you're not being productive. So that's the issue with running errands all day. And then you're only spending about 3% of your time. Most agents are only spending about 3% of their time talking to clients. So this is a big no-no if you want to be super successful, a mega agent or a top producer. You cannot be spending only 3% of your time talking to clients and leads, okay? So that's typically what we're seeing. Agents are also spending a lot of time checking admin, doing email, sending out emails, surfing the internet, social media, etc. But we're not spending time in that influential zone like we should be. Another thing is that a lot of agents are not having, or they don't have the skill set for today's market. Now, we're going to talk about this very briefly. This is not truly a part of the training, because again, you can get the skill sets between training, going to trainings, and also learning and spending more time with a mentor, somebody that truly knows the market, and also being actively proactive in the industry as well. And also looking up that data regularly and viewing homes, doing tours. There are a number of ways that you can actually gain the skill sets for today's market. Okay. And again, real estate is actually only 15% technical. The rest of it is really about that consistent action of lead generating. So that's the reason why we're not going to spend a lot of time touching bases on that in this training, because there are other ways that you can get that skill set if you really wanted to. And again, real estate is only 15% technical. Now, the top reasons why we see a real estate agent succeed and they're a mega agent or they're a top producer, it's because they understand that they're in the business of generating leads, guys. They understand they are in the lead generation business. And as unsexy as that sounds, they get it. They know that without leads, there are no deals. This top activity alone is directly related to generating new business and will drive your sales. So never stop prospecting. Every top producer knows this. The moment you stop doing this is the moment you no longer have a business, because you need to remember that you can do every real estate ready task and not generate a single lead. But the lead generation is what generates the leads. The leads are what makes the clients. The clients are what makes the sales. And the sales are what keeps you in business and has you earning a living. So pack your pipeline to the fullest, people, and never stop prospecting. You know how they say always be closing? Never stop prospecting is what I like to say. Remember, whatever you focus on, it truly does expand, guys. So another reason why most agents tend to succeed, or there's top agents or mega agents, they continuously succeed, and you're trying to figure out like how and why. They also have a system for generating leads. So we're going to talk about the different systems out there, and we're going to focus on the ones that are, like I said, true, a model that is proven, right? True to the model, right? So we're going to stick to the model. And essentially it's like, we don't want to replicate something. We already know implementation needs to happen first. We don't need to get super creative. We need to follow the models and systems that already exist. There are people that came before us and have done this before us. So there's no point of recreating the entire wheel when you can just model, right? Okay. Now, another reason why not a lot of real estate agents, why those mega agents and top producing agents tend to succeed, because they also understand that they must provide value and build relationships. So let me say that again. They understand that they must provide value and build relationships. We need to remember that we are in a relationship business. It's not about just talking to as many people as possible and casting this wide net. It's really about taking a core group of people, and we're going to talk about that number in the next, when we talk about building our database, which is next. So I know you guys are excited to really start diving in and taking that action. So in the next section, we're going to dive deeper and talk a little bit more about how we are in the relationship business and how you can take a core group of people, a group about 100, 150 to 200 people, and really generate and make a ton of money from those people. Because it's really not about casting this wide net and talk to anybody and everybody. It's really about building out relationships with people so they can go ahead and refer you business. And again, of course, so you can, build relationships with them, and they know when to call you and when to reach out to you when it's time for them to do business as well. They also understand that they need to constantly promote. They never stop promoting, right? Like I said, they say always be closing, always be prospecting, and always be constantly promoting and selling yourself as well. They also sell and serve skillfully. We need to make sure that we continuously stay away from the dirty or the mindset of that all salespeople or, out to get people, right? We need to stay professional, and we need to set the standards and the bar high. We need to continuously sell and serve skillfully, guys, not essentially be out here as a dirty or greasy, what do they say, car salesman? I hate that terminology, but that's not who we are. Okay. Again, we need to make sure that we understand these are the reasons why agents succeed. And I just went back, but I did it a little bit premature. We also need to understand why real estate agents also face challenges. So this is part of setting the foundation. Now let's dive in and talk a little bit more about your job description. This is the last section. I know this seems very minor, and I talked to some agents and they're like, why are we going over this? This is very minor, but it's not. Part of laying down the foundation is understanding your job description. A lot of agents don't succeed because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing every day. So this is your real estate job description right here. Your job description is to lead generate, lead follow up, right? Lead generate, always be, I know I'm going to say that a couple times, I'm going to annoy you guys, but always be prospecting, always be lead generating. Lead follow up. There is no point of reaching out to people if you are not going to follow up with them, because over 90% of the sales of closed sales actually happen in the follow up. Over 90% of closed transactions happen from the follow up, people. So hopefully this changes your perspective on following up with people. Another thing, you have to go on appointments, right? You did all that work, you're prospecting, you're lead generating, right? And then you follow up with the leads, but you also remember that you actually have to take them out on appointments. So they'll turn from a lead to an actual client, and then you'll start going on appointments. And of course, you'll have to negotiate the contracts to get them to a closed deal. Sometimes it might be an easy negotiation. Sometimes it might be a little bit more difficult, right? But that has to be done. That is part of your job description. And then lastly, but not least, there are other things in your job description, but we're going to highlight and talk about the main things right now. You need to be practicing and role playing. Real estate is a contact sport, guys. Yes, we're kind of like athletes in a way, right? Not exactly, but at the end of the day, every athlete, before they go on to a major field, so if they're a football player, a baseball player, a basketball player, right? If they are, maybe this is controversial, but a cheerleader as well. Every single one of these athletes, a gymnast, right? Every single one of these athletes train. So we need to be doing the same thing when it comes to real estate, because this is a contact sport. It's belly up, it's face to face, phone to phone. Hey, nowadays we have technology, so we're able to kind of like text and do emailing, but essentially a lot of the closed sales actually happen from following up with people, getting in front of people, picking up the phone and saying, hey, what do you need? Okay. Or how can I help you? How can I move the needle? And then we are starting to see a great presence on social media. We will kind of talk about that as one of your lead sources as well. But again, that still is a contact sport. And that's why there's a huge push. And everything's visual if you think about it. And that's why there's a huge push towards doing more videos. But we're going to talk about how you can prospect and not just market on social media, because most of us are marketing on social media. And we're going to talk about the difference between marketing and prospecting later on in the training when we cover lead generation section, prospecting section. And we really dive deep and we talk a little bit more about, okay, this is the difference between just putting up a post and saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent, versus that's marketing, versus actually proactively prospecting. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see y'all in the next section.